we're back here. We're gonna see. Oh wait. We're gonna see if it's working quickly, and then we'll continue this. I didn't say anything to. Let me just double check. Stop stream. Okay, so that was still going, but now we're live, right? Okay, we're gonna double check on that, but let's continue. So we were trying to look at data, the runway data, how many airports could host this $29 million private jet. And we came up with, well, we didn't, but the answer was right in front of us. And we were trying to figure out by ourselves. But our friends at the CBC are very, very resourceful. And they've actually helped us get closer to the truth. And $1 million private jet. Oh, here we go. We're here. So here's what we're going to do, okay? Do you remember how the premier was talking about these emergencies that were happening? And, oh, sorry. I think I messed it up. The premier wanted to travel in Northern Ontario, but the wildfires and the floods that he was referencing weren't specific to a location, but to First Nations communities. Or actually weren't even specific to First Nations communities. That was a separate category. So I apologize if I led people in the wrong direction there, but the point still stands. You know, it's not a private jet that is meant to be used in the case of emergencies. But let's go here again. And here is the magic. There is, out of 179 operational airports, there is currently 19 that would have been able to take off, or that the private jet would have been able to land and take off from. Okay, so that's important. And this is the 13. Where do wildfires statistics Ontario on a map? Okay. Let's look at this. Maybe this is helpful. Okay. So this information is available, and we are looking at fire data. The Canadian National Fire Database is a collective of vegetation fire data from various resources and fire perimeter. So, okay. So we have this, okay? We have a map of Ontario here. And, okay. All right. So it's a bit difficult, but just bear with me here. We're gonna try to just do this. Okay. So this is Ontario, if I'm not mistaken. And we're looking for the airports that the private jet could have landed and taken off from, okay? As you can see, the wildfires are mostly happening here in the sort of the northwest region of Ontario. And if we look at the map, and this is I wish they outlined it better for people who are not super familiar. But if you look at the map, there's not many, if any, airports, and I don't understand. Okay, if a person is in need of, like, they need to be taken to a hospital immediately, let's say, right? And the only possible hospital that they can be taken to, or the appropriate hospital, requires flight, in which case you take a private jet or a helicopter or whatever form of transportation that happens in the air, so you can transport the person to get medical care because it's time sensitive. Got it. But if there's a fire or if there's a flood, and you need to, like, go to these places, like, you need to rescue the person where something is happening, right? No one's going to show up at the airport where the plane is and say, okay, by the time they've already been rescued, right? So you actually have to go, and you have to take emergency vehicles with you. You have to pull people out of, harm's way and take them to a safe location. What's the point of taking somebody, putting them in a vehicle, rescuing them, and the rescue mission has concluded because they have been rescued, driving them to an airport which may or may not even be within 100 to 300 kilometers, because clearly they're so sparse and they're just unavailable in much of Ontario, especially northern Western Ontario. What's the point of driving them to an airport? Take them to where? Where are you airlifting people to after you've already rescued them? I'm so confused, because I'm treating this as a genuine explanation, and the more that I genuinely think about it, and the more that I try to, think about, okay, if this was actually being used, and the government, Premier Ford, didn't return their private jet within the little 30-day return window, is a cheeky joke. But if they didn't return it, and this was the intended use, like, I'm just doing a stress test. We're trying to figure out if the intended use was actually something that was reasonable. But okay, one of the 19 airports in CFB Trenton is a military base. The majority of other 18 airports with long enough runways operate scheduled commercial flights. Those include international airports like Toronto Pearson, Thunder Bay, Windsor, London, Hamilton. So, okay, I have this question then. Instead of purchasing a approximately $29 million private jet for a hypothetical scenario, a hypothetical emergency, which may or may not happen, and even if it does, the plane may or may not be in use by the government. Even if it's not being used by the government, it's unclear and questionable how effective the plane would be at accomplishing the intended goal that was made when the government made the purchase. With that being I'm just going to preface this. That was my preface. Why couldn't you just purchase flights for these people? I don't even know where they're going to. Am I dumb? How do you evacuate people from areas like you rescue people from areas, but then what does driving them to an airport do? Like, where are you sending them off to? Like again, maybe I'm like super, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I've never been in this situation, and I don't know anything about wildfires and floods or any of these emergency situations. But I've never heard of a family who was rescued from an area that was affected by wildfire, flooding, any natural disaster, and then removing them from harm's way to the point that they're safe, transporting them to an airport, putting them on any sort of an aircraft, airlifting them, and they go somewhere. Where are you going? Or where would they be going? It's unclear. All right. The majority of, we already got that. Let's see, guys. Toronto Billy Bishop Airport could not currently handle the Challenger 650 jet. The Challenger was really a challenge for the government. Oh, interesting. They have plans to expand the runway at an airport that they are taking control over. Cool. Cool. Oh, that's so cute. So CBC provided its findings and questions concerning them to the Premier's office, the PO. In an email, spokesperson Hannah Jensen said she'd let the Premier's answers to reporters on Tuesday stand as the government's response. Mic drop. That's how little. Who's Hannah Jensen? Maybe the wrong Hannah Jensen. This looks like she might be it. Oh, we're not doing that right now. But this is the only Hannah Jensen we can find, who also appears here, and she is in the office of the Premier. I'm not sure if there's more than one Hannah Jensen who's currently in the office of the Premier. Hi, Jenna. So this is her public image. You know. Oh, they make this so difficult. Why, LinkedIn? Why? Why can't we be friends, LinkedIn? Why do you want something from me for me to be your friend, LinkedIn? But yeah. Cool. I don't know what she does in the PO, but the attitude of not providing answers to follow-up questions, legitimate follow-up questions, may not entirely be hers. It might not be her decision. When asked Tuesday about whether there are a lot of places the jet wouldn't have been able to land, Ford said just up in the far north where there's dirt runways. Oh, really? So instead of framing it correctly, which is, 19 out of, can we do the quick math on that? So there's only 10% approximately of runways that come into play here. But the way the Premier is presenting it is, it's only the runways that are dirt runways that would not have been able to land his private jet. Really? Is it just the ones that are far, far north? Is it just the ones where they have dirt runways? Right. Clearly, it's not just the ones that are up north with the dirt runways, because there's 67 airports that are made of asphalt that still wouldn't be able to land his $29 million private jet. He's so happy. Carl, you look so happy. Okay, so we have an aviation expert who is saying something that is implied, which is the weight of the plane can affect the length of distance required to take off and land. Thank you, Carl. Zekus. Most of the Ontario airports with runways that fall short of the AV. Let me just quickly do one thing. Okay, cool. OPP jet can use I'm just reading this. So this is, I don't know if this is explicitly mentioned here, but there's a discussion of this. There is so the police services, like they have planes as well, right? In this case, we're looking at the OPP. And late last year, they purchased a Pilatus PC-24. And this just shows the point that there currently are planes that are within the arsenal of various police services. And if your primary goal, and I say primary goal, is to facilitate evacuations during emergencies, it may be better to, expand the arsenal of the police. It may be better for them to decide which plane is more flexible when it comes to its use, which one is more, which one is actually built for dealing with rough terrain, for example. But anyways, this article ends with great work, Nicole. By the way, I just want to say, Nicole Brockbank from the CBC, you did an excellent job, and we will be in touch. She's a reporter for CBC Toronto's Enterprise Unit. No, this is great. Look forward to our chat. So the premier has said this. I'll continue taking commercial. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I'll continue going on the OPP plane, and there are times that I'm going to have to charter the odd flight to get to point A and get through there to point B and point C and make things happen. I'm so sorry that there will be odd flights that you will have to take. Which will require a charter plane. The decision to sell the used Challenger was announced Sunday, just days after the jet's purchase was revealed. Well, the outrage couldn't have been more foreseen, in my opinion. You could have easily anticipated, what was going to happen when you purchased this jet, whose primary reason, in conclusion, does not appear to be one that involves any kind of an emergency use case scenario. So that's it for me. Apologies that the initial stream didn't keep going. I don't know why that happened. I didn't even get notified. I just happened to look at the streaming app that showed that the chat was disabled. And it's also disabled for this stream. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I'm going to have to contact YouTube or someone and figure that out. But that was nice. We started off with a really sad story coming out of Toronto, and then it led to us scrolling down other stories in Toronto at the CBC. And as always, Nicole Brockbank and Sarah McMillan. They were able to bring us some very important journalistic and investigative journalism that they did. So thank you, CBC. And with that, I'm going to have to end the stream because I need to try to wake up for a bail hearing tomorrow morning. And we'll see where that goes. But hope you guys enjoyed this. This is actually fun. I'm happy to voice and I'm not being overly critical, am I? I'm just, if your goal is to use the plane to help people in emergencies, I am thinking about how that would actually play out. And I'm raising some questions. There's nothing, I'm not being unfair, am I? But I hope you guys enjoy the stream. I hope I don't look like I'm too hunched over, although I'm trying to talk into the mic a bit. And also when you're on the laptop, you naturally sort of put your head closer to the screen, but I hope it was okay. All right. Have a great night. See you guys in a little bit.